Welcome back to the weird and unexplained. Tonight, we're journeying back to a single, extraordinary night that left thousands of people staring at the sky in disbelief. Picture this. It's March 13th, 1997. The night sky above Arizona is a vast, star-filled canvas, clear and quiet. Suddenly, a colossal, silent formation of lights glides into view. It moves slowly, effortlessly. A massive V-shape so wide it seems to blot out the stars themselves. This wasn't a fleeting glimpse seen by one or two people. This was a phenomenon witnessed by thousands across hundreds of miles of desert and city. This was the night of the Phoenix Lights, an event that stunned an entire state and captured the curiosity of the world. Tonight, we're diving deep into this incredible story. We'll explore the eyewitness accounts, dissect the official explanations, hear from the skeptics, and unravel the lasting mystery that continues to fascinate and divide us all. So stay with me as we journey back to that unforgettable night in Arizona. The first reports started rolling in around 7:55 p.m. Calls flooded in from southern Nevada, through Phoenix, all the way down to Tucson. People from all walks of life, families on their evening drive, police officers on patrol. Even seasoned pilots were reporting the same thing, a gigantic, V-shaped or boomerang-like object moving silently across the sky. Imagine you're driving near Henderson, Nevada, and you look up to see 5 glowing orbs in perfect alignment forming an immense chevron. It's moving slower than any aircraft you've ever seen, and it's completely silent. This is what witnesses described. They spoke of a craft so vast it was like a floating city block, darkening the stars behind it as it passed. It glided with a strange, deliberate grace for nearly an hour, cutting a path across the horizon. This wasn't just a handful of sightings. It was a mass event, a shared experience for thousands of people spread across a massive geographical area. The sheer number of credible witnesses made it impossible to ignore. Something truly extraordinary was happening in the skies over Arizona, but the story doesn't end there. Later that same night, around 10 p.m., a second distinct set of lights appeared over southwestern Phoenix. These lights were different. They were stationary, flickering amber orbs that seemed to hover in the sky near the Sierra Estrella Mountains. To the observers on the ground, these clearly weren't the same thing as the massive silent craft seen earlier. This created a complex narrative of 2 separate events happening on the same night. First, you had the enormous V-shaped formation that traversed hundreds of miles, witnessed by thousands from about 8 to 9 p.m. Then, several hours later, a new display, a formation of bright, flickering, stationary lights hovering in one location. This distinction is crucial because it's where the official explanation begins to take shape, attempting to address 2 very different phenomena with 2 separate answers. The military's response would focus on splitting these 2 events, offering logical terrestrial explanations for each. But for the people who saw that first massive object, the night was far from explained. So what was the official story? The U.S. Air Force was quick to provide answers. They addressed the 2 events separately. The second set of lights, those flickering, stationary orbs seen around 10 p.m., were identified as illumination flares, specifically LUU-2BB flares dropped by a 10 Thunderbolt II aircraft on a training exercise over the Barry M. Goldwater Air Force Range. These high-intensity flares are designed to illuminate the ground for night training and are dropped from high altitude on parachutes, which would explain their slow descent and flickering appearance. As for the first event, the massive, silent V formation, the military attributed that to a group of a 10 Thunderbolt II jets flying in formation during a training mission called Operation Snowbird. They suggested that what people saw were simply the navigation and formation lights of these jets. In short, the official word was, no aliens, no secret government craft, just routine military operations. Case closed. Or was it? For many, these explanations raised more questions than they answered. The official military explanation simply didn't sit right with a large number of eyewitnesses. Let's start with the A-10 jets. These planes, known as warthogs, are anything but silent. They are notoriously loud. Yet, one of the most consistent details from witnesses of the first event was the profound, eerie silence of the object. How could a squadron of jets fly so low and be completely unheard? Furthermore, witnesses insisted they saw a solid, physical object connecting the lights, an object so large it blocked out the stars. This doesn't align with the formation of separate airplanes. Then there's the issue of the flares. while flares could explain the 10 p.m. lights. Many observers of the first event were adamant that what they saw was not flares. The lights were in a stable geometric formation and moved together as a single unit, not like individual flares descending erratically. The mystery deepened when Arizona's then governor, Fife Symington, got involved. Initially, he made light of the situation, even holding a press conference where his chief of staff appeared in an alien costume to mock the hysteria. It was a joke meant to calm the public. But years later, Governor Symington came forward with a stunning confession. He admitted he had also witnessed the phenomenon that night and described it as otherworldly and enormous. He stated unequivocally that it was not military jets or flares but something he could not explain. Coming from a former Air Force pilot and the state's highest official, his testimony gave incredible weight to the idea that something truly unexplained had visited Arizona. As you can imagine, the skeptical community had a field day with this. They largely accepted the military's explanation, proposing that the entire event was a classic case of misidentification and mass perception. They argued that people simply mistook conventional aircraft and military flares for something more exotic. The V-shape? A squadron of A-10s flying in formation. The silence? A trick of atmospheric conditions and distance. The enormous size? An optical illusion. Skeptics point out that under the right conditions, the human mind can easily be fooled, and once a narrative like a UFO sighting takes hold, confirmation bias leads others to interpret ambiguous lights in the same way. However, the eyewitnesses pushed back hard. These weren't just a few excitable people. They were pilots, air traffic controllers, police officers, and thousands of ordinary citizens who were certain of what they saw. They maintained that the object had a clear, defined structure, was larger than any known aircraft, and moved with a silent, deliberate intelligence. Prominent UFO researchers and even some astronomers challenged the official narrative, pointing out inconsistencies. For example, some analyses of video footage suggested the lights were in front of the mountains, not behind them where the military range was. The debate raged on, creating a deep divide between the official explanation and the extraordinary experiences of thousands. The Phoenix Lights event reignited a national conversation about unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, long before it became the mainstream topic it is today. It became a cultural touchstone. Documentaries were made, books were written, and TV shows like Unsolved Mysteries brought the story into living rooms across the country. Amateur video footage, though often grainy and inconclusive, became iconic evidence for believers. The city of Phoenix itself became an unlikely pilgrimage site for UFO enthusiasts, researchers, and skeptics. The city of Phoenix itself became an unlikely pilgrimage site for UFO enthusiasts, all drawn to the scene of one of the largest mass sightings in history. In the years that followed, reports of similar lights would occasionally surface over Phoenix. These were often quickly debunked as flares launched by civilians using helium balloons, or other conventional sources, sometimes in a deliberate attempt to recreate the famous sighting. But none of these subsequent events ever matched the scale, the duration, or the sheer number of credible witnesses from that one night in March 1997. The original event stands alone. A singular moment that left an indelible mark on the public consciousness and cemented its place in the lore of the unexplained. Was it really just a series of military training exercises, perfectly timed and aligned to create a mass delusion? Or did thousands of people witness something else? Did a secret, advanced human aircraft soar silently over Arizona that night? Or was it something not of this world at all, something truly extraterrestrial? The testimony of people like Governor Fife Symington adds a layer of credibility that is difficult to dismiss. Despite declassified documents and ongoing investigations into UAPs, the truth behind the Phoenix Lights remains tantalizingly out of reach, shrouded in mystery and debate. So the next time you find yourself under a clear, dark sky, take a moment to look up. Remember the night the lights danced across Arizona. Remember the thousands of people who shared that single, awe-inspiring moment, a collective experience that challenges our understanding of the world and asks the profound question, what else is out there? Thank you for joining me on this journey into the weird and unexplained. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more mysteries with us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay curious.